In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to do a basic solar animation. So we have a simple house here on the screen. First thing I'm going to do is see what my orientation is. So green is pointing north, red is pointing to the east. So we want to put some solar panels here on this south gable. So I'll go out to the 3D warehouse, get models. And I'm going to, I actually have found one. Well, what I did was I searched on solar panel and I found this Canadian Solar, which looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and download that. And I'll just put it here in the model. Now, I think this roof pitch is a 1012. Let me just measure that. So I'll get my protractor tool. I'll click once horizontally and then go up vertically, and if I type in 10:12, I'll see that it stays right on that edge of the roof. So that is correct. So I'm going to rotate this panel up to 1012. So I'll get my rotate tool and I'll lock it along the red axis, click in the corner, click a second time along the horizontal line, and then rotate up and type in 10:12 and press enter. Okay, then I'm going to grab the move tool and get this bottom edge and move this one up onto the roof. And let's put a few of them on there and then we can kind of center them all. So I'm going to tap my control key or option on the Mac to do a copy. And then I'm going to type in ×2 and enter. And then let's select this bottom row. So I shift clicked and shift clicked on all the individual pieces. Now I'm going to tap my control or command and move that up. So now I have a nice group of 6 panels. I think I'm going to quickly shift click on all 6 of those, right click and make a group. Just make it a little bit easier to move this around. And then I can even get the middle of this group and move it up to the middle of the roof. And I'll do the same along this side. I'm just hovering until I get the middle of the group. I'll start moving it along the red axis and then kind of zoom out and snap at the middle of that roof. Okay, so very quickly I've got the solar panels on the roof and they're kind of centered on this gable. And they are facing south. So next thing I'll do is I'll turn my shadows on. So on the PC, I'm going to my tray, default tray. On the Mac, you would go to Window Shadows. This button in the upper left corner of the Shadows panel is going to turn the shadows on. And I like the shadows on not on the ground, which is going to put it on what SketchUp thinks is the ground, which is just the red and green plane. But I am going to turn it on faces so that it projects down on this green grass. Okay. So next thing, we're going to make some scenes, and we're going to watch how this the sun can actually animate. So let's first pick a time of year. Let's say it's right around the beginning of September. So I can actually set that to September 1st if I want. I'm going to do that. And 9 a.m. is fine. And let's kind of position this where we have a good view. And now I will go to the Scenes tab. That's Window Scenes on a Mac. And I'm going to hit the plus. And I'll type in the name here and I'll just put in 9 a.m. Okay. So that's already updated automatically, but you can see that my shadow settings appeared to change here. So I'm going to go over to shadow and turn off ground. So since I made a change, I'm going to right click and update in the scene tab. And now I'm going to make another scene. Let's call that noon. I'll press enter. And then back to the shadow tab, we'll just drag this slider across so that it's somewhere close to noon, doesn't have to be exact. And now I will update this tab. And now you can see if I click on 9 a.m., that's the start of the shadows, and then they move across to noon. So let's do one more. Let's do a 5 p.m. also. So I'll click here to make a new scene, call that 5 p.m. and press enter. And then update our time of day, make that close to 5 p.m. And of course, update. Now, I did want to, what I've got set here is the camera view is in the exact same position on all three of these scene tabs, and that basically enhances this animation of just the sun moving. If for some reason I had a different view set in this tab, so I'm going to right click and I'm going to update it. So now if I go from noon to 5 p.m., the shadow is still animating, but the scene also, the camera of the scene also changed. So if you want to set that back so that it's all the same, get the one that you like, and then I'm going to go to the scene tab that's messed up, and I'm going to use this button right here, my previous camera view, and then right click and update. So now between noon and 5 p.m. we are in the exact same setting. Okay, so let's go to our preferences. So on the PC, this is Window Preferences. On the Mac, that's in the SketchUp menu and then Preferences. And we're going to pop up this window that has, I'm sorry, I went to the wrong one. Let's go to Window Model Info. So on the Mac, I believe this is also in your SketchUp menu. Okay, so in Model Info, we have an animation window, and you can control how long or short that animation is, and you can also control the delay between scenes. So I'm going to have no delay between my scenes, and I'm going to leave this set at 3 seconds. So if I had set that to a longer period, the shadows would have taken a longer time to go from one scene to the other. But that looks pretty good. So I've got my 9 a.m., noon, and 5 p.m. in the order that I would like the animation to occur. And now I'm going to go to my File menu, Export, Animation, Video, and I'm just going to select a location to put this in. So I'm going to go to my file that I've got all of our workflow stuff in, and I will select Solar Animation. I've already done that once, so I'm going to replace that file. And now SketchUp is actually exporting frame by frame this solar animation. And I'm going to pause the video for a second here and start it back up when we're done. Okay, so the export finished. So I'm going to go to my File Explorer, and here's my solar animation. So I'm just going to click on that and let's see what we get. So this is actually an MP4 file that is simply an animation of SketchUp going between its tabs. So this is not limited to solar animations. If you wanted to animate a walkthrough through an interior, basically anything that happens between two tabs, as long as animation is turned on, you can export that to an MP4 file, and then you could share that with a client.